A millionaire comes home early, unannounced, and is stunned by what he finds a housekeeper doing with his triplets. Alexander Vance adjusted his tie for the third time that morning, studying his reflection in a master bathroom mirror. His hazel eyes betrayed the exhaustion of another sleepless night. At 52, he had built a real estate empire in Manhattan, New York, but professional success couldn't fill the void left when his wife, Clara, died in a car crash 5 years ago. A crash from downstairs snapped him out Ophi's thoughts. Alexander sighed deeply, knowing his triplets were testing yet another nanny. Owen, Blair, and Sam, his 7-year-old kids, had become little terrors since their mother's death. Each new nanny lasted only weeks before quitting, claiming the kids were impossible. Descending the marble staircase of his Upper East Side mansion, Alexander found shards of a broken vase in the foyer. The latest nanny, a middle-aged woman named Beatrice, wazered faced with anger, trying to get the three to apologize. Owen, the boldest of the triplets, crossed his arms and glared defiantly. "We didn't break it," he lied blatantly. "I saw you push the vase off the table," Beatrice snapped, losing patience. Blair started wailing dramatically, a tactic she used to stir chaos. Sam, the quietest, stood behind his brother, but Alexander caught a sly smirk on his face. "What's going on here?" Alexander asked. Stepping off the last stair, Beatrice turned to him with relief. "Mr. Vance, we need to talk that I can't work with these kids anymore. They respect nothing." Alexander glanced at his children, who now looked like perfect angels. "Beatrice, can we talk in my office?" 15 minutes later, another nanny quit. Alexander offered a raise, better hours, but Beatrice was done. She left the mansion with her bags. The 14th caregiver to abandon the triplets in 2 years. Alone in his office, Alexander called the nanny agency again. The receptionist, Dana Thompson, recognized his voice. "Mr. Vance, I'll be honest," she said over the phone. "Your kids have a reputation at our agency. Many of our nannies refuse to work at your house. What do you suggest?" Alexander asked, rubbing his temples. "Maybe it's time to consider boarding school or intensive therapy for the kids," Dana said cautiously. Alexander hung up without a reply. He wouldn't send his kids away. Despite everything, they were all he had left of Clara. That same morning, across Manhattan, Maria Torres finished tidying her modest apartment in Harlem, where she lived with her daughter, Sophia. At 44, Maria worked as a housekeeper in multiple homes to pay the bills and keep Sophia, 19, in school. "Mom, you working at that big house today?" Sophia asked, packing her backpack. "Yeah, honey. The cleaning company landed a good contract there," Maria replied, stowing cleaning supplies in her bag. Sophia grimaced. "But it's full of rich, snobby people." "Sophia, don't talk like that. Honest work is nothing to be ashamed of," Maria said gently. Sophia kissed her mom's forehead before heading to school. Maria watched her through the window, proud of the bright daughter she was raising alone. Since losing her husband in a construction accident 7 years ago, she'd done everything to give Sophia a decent life. An hour later, Maria stood before the imposing gate of the Vance mansion. The house was stunning, with manicured gardens and modern architecture she'd only seen in magazines. The gatekeeper, a friendly man named Mick, greeted her. "You must be the new housekeeper," Mick said, opening the gate. "I'm Meek. Been here 12 years. Nice to meet you." Mick, I'm Maria. Mick led her to the back entrance. "Just a heads up, Ms. Maria, the kids here are a bit tough. Best keep your distance." Maria nodded, intrigued by the warning. Meeting the cook, Mrs. Dale, a 68-year-old who'd worked there for 7 years, she learned more about the family. "Poor kids," Mrs. Dale sighed, preparing lunch. "Lost their moms so young, and their dad's always working. Work, work, work." "What about the nannies?" Maria asked, starting to clean the kitchen. Mrs. Dale shook her head. "They don't last. The kids do things that make me feel sorry for those women. But it's not meanness, it's grief." During her first week, Maria observed the triplets from afar. They were indeed difficult, breaking things, yelling for no reason, and defying every adult. But Maria saw something others missed. In quiet moments, when they thought no one was watching, the kids looked lost and sad. Owen, The ringleader had sharp, angry eyes. Blair's tears seemed born of frustration, not tantrums. Sam hid from adults, retreating inward. In her second week, Maria cleaned upstairs near the kids' rooms. She found the three playing in the hallway with broken toy cars and ball dolls. When they saw her, Owen stood defensively. "You can't touch our toys," he said, arms crossed. "I'm not touching anything," Maria said calmly, wiping the floor. "Just cleaning." Blair looked at her curiously. "Are you the new nanny?" "No, I'm the housekeeper that I clean the house." Sam whispered to Owen, who translated, "He wants takno if you'll yell at us." Maria stopped cleaning and knelt to their level. "Why would I yell at you?" Owen seemed surprised. "Because everyone yells. The nannies yell. Dad yells when he gets home." "Well, I don't usually yell," Maria said, resuming her work. The kids watched her clean for a few minutes. Maria hummed a lullaby she used to sing to Sophia as a child. Blair edged closer. "What's that song?" "A lullaby my daughter loved when she was little like you." "You have a daughter?" Owen asked, curious despite his tough act. "Yep. Sophia's 19 now, but she loved the song when she was small." Sam whispered Owen again, who asked, "Does your daughter throw tantrums too?" Maria smiled. "Sometimes. All kids do when they're sad or mad about something." From that day, whenever Maria worked upstairs, the kids lingered nearby. They didn't talk much, but watched her work and listened to her humming. She never forced closeness, just did her job. The first big test came in her third week. Owen tripped while running in the hallway, scraping his knee on the marble floor. He cried, but when Mrs. Dale tried to help, he screamed for no one to touch him. Maria heard the commotion and found Owen on the floor, bleeding and refusing help. She approached slowly. "Can I take a look?" she asked softly. Owen, tears and highs, nodded. Maria checked the wound carefully, just a scrape. "But we need Takli in it to avoid infection. I'll grab the first aid kit." She returned and tended to his knee. Owen winced as she applied antiseptic, but didn't push her away. "There, just a bandage," Maria said, placing a colorful band-aid on his knee. "Good as new in a few days." Owen looked at the bandage, then at her. "Thanks," he mumbled. Blair and Sam, watching from a distance, crept closer to see their brother's bandage. It was the first moment a calm Maria had seen between the kids and an adult since starting. That same week, Alexander hired a new nanny through a premium agency. Jessica Lane, 58, had a degree in education and stellar references, exactly the professional he thought his kids needed. Firm, experienced, no-nonsense. Jessica arrived Monday morning, impeccably dressed, carrying a binder of schedules and rules. Alexander introduced her to the kids in the living room. "Kids, this is Ms. Jessica. She'll be taking care of you from now on," he announced. Jessica eyed the triplets like a general inspecting troops. "All right, children, let's be clear from the start. I don't tolerate disobedience, tantrums, or rudeness. Misbehave, and you'll face consequences." Owen exchanged a glance with his siblings. They were used to nannies who tried to befriend them first. This one was different, but not in a good way. Alexander seemed pleased with Jessica's firmness. "Perfect. I have a meeting. Call me if there's an issue." Once Alexander left, Jessica showed her true colors. She imposed a military-style routine. Breakfast at 7 sharp, 1 hour of study, 1 hour of exercise, silent lunch, more study, dinner at 6, bed at 8. Any deviation meant punishment. On the first day, Blair refused to eat broccoli at lunch. Jessica removed her entire plate. "If you don't eat what's served, you eat nothing," she said coldly. Blair cried, but Jessica was unmoved. Crying won't help. Learn to behave or go hungry. Owen tried to share his food with Blair, but Jessica stopped him. Each child eats their portion. Sharing doesn't teach discipline. When Sam struggled with a math problem that afternoon, Jessica snapped, "How can you be so dumb? It's simple addition." Sam cried quietly, which only annoyed her more. "Stop crying like a baby. Boys don't cry." Maria, cleaning upstairs, heard Jessica's shouts. She crept downstairs and peeked through the study room's cracked door, seeing Sam hunch in his chair as Jessica berated him. Her maternal instincts surged, but she held back. It wasn't her place to interfere. Things worsened over the days. Jessica's punishments included taking away toys, desserts, and, in extreme cases, locking the kids in terror rooms. When Owen accidentally broke a pencil during an activity, she locked him in a dark room as punishment. "Stay there until you learn to respect property," Jessica said, turning the key. Owen banged on the door 4 minutes, yelling to be let out, then went silent. Blair and Sam were terrified, knowing any protest could mean the same fate. Maria, working in the hallway, overheard. She approached the door and whispered, "Owen, you okay, honey?" A muffled voice replied, "I'm scared of the dark." "She can't do this to you," Maria said, testing the lock knob. "Don't do anything, Ms. Maria. If she knows you talk to me, it'll be worse." Maria was torn between breaking the door down and keeping her job. If she got fired, Sophia's education would suffer. But hearing that scared child broke her heart. 2 hours later, Jessica let Owen out. He emerged pale and trembling, running to his siblings without a word. That night, Maria heard Blair crying in the next room. She peeked through the cracked door and saw the girl awake, clearly having nightmares. Maria stepped inside. "Blair, you okay?" The girl's red eyes met hers. "Ms. Maria, I'm scared of MS." "Jessica, why, sweetie?" She said, "If I don't stop having nightmares, she'll give me medicine to sleep forever." Maria's blood boiled. She sat on the bed and sang the lullaby the kids knew. Blair calmed and fell asleep. The breaking point came the next week. Jessica, frustrated by the kids' resistance, grew harsher. She began muttering about medicating them to calm them down. "These kids are too hyper," she said to herself, browsing sedatives online. "A small dose of cough syrup with codeine will make them behave." Maria overheard Jessica on the phone, discussing getting medicine without a prescription. Alarmed, she didn't know how to act. Accusing Jessica without proof could make her look like a jealous housekeeper stirring trouble. Her decision was made the following Thursday. Jessica had gone to the pharmacy, and Maria, cleaning the living room, found the triplets hiding behind the couch, whispering. "What are you doing there?" she asked. Owen looked desperate. "Ms. Maria," Ms. Jessica said, "she'll give us medicine to make us quiet forever." "We don't want it." Blair sobbed. She said if we don't obey, she'll give us so much medicine we'll sleep and never wake up. Sam, rarely speaking, whispered like mommy. Maria's heart sank. The kids thought Jessica would kill them with medicine, like their mother's accident. She knelt and hugged them. "No one's giving you medicine without your dad's permission," she said firmly. "I promise. But we're scared to tell Dad," Owen admitted. "He never believes us." Maria thought fast. She couldn't let Jessica drug the kids, but had no authority to stop her. When Jessica returned with a bag of medicine, Maria acted. "Miss Jessica, can we talk?" she said, intercepting her in the kitchen. Jessica glared. "What do you want, housekeeper?" "I'm busy. I heard you talking about giving the kids medicine. That's not allowed without a prescription." Jessica's face reddened. "How dare you question me? You're just a maid." "I'm a maid." "Yes, but I'm also a mother, and I won't let anyone hurt those kids." Jessica stepped closer, menacing. "Listen, you meddler, you're nothing here. If you tell Mr. Vance, I'll say you suggested medicating the kids. Who will he believe? A trained nanny or an ignorant maid?" Maria stood her ground. "Do what you want of me, but don't touch those kids. You're fired." Jessica snapped. "Pack your things and leave." The argument heated up when 3 small voices shouted no. Owen, Blair, and Sam appeared at the kitchen door, having overheard. Owen stepped in front of Maria. "Ms. Maria didn't do anything wrong. You're the mean one." Blair joined him. "You locked Owen in the dark. You said you'd give us medicine to make us die." Sam, summoning all his courage, yelled, "We didn't like you. We want Ms. Maria." Jessica was stunned. The kids she terrorized were defending the housekeeper. Her authority was crumbling, challenged by 7-year-olds, and it enraged her. "You spoiled rude brats," she shouted. "I'll tell your father you're uncontrollable." "Go ahead," Owen said, with courage that surprised even himself. "But we'll tell the truth about you." At that moment, Alexander walked in through the back door. He'd come home early to grab forgotten documents. Hearing Ray's voices, he paused to listen. Through the cracked kitchen door, he saw a scene that left him speechless. His 3 kids, who'd been hostile to every adult for years, were defending a housekeeper against a nanny he'd hired. "Jessica, what's happening here?" Alexander asked, stepping into the kitchen. Jessica switched to a victimized tone. "Mr. Vance, thank goodness you're here. This maid was interfering with my work and turning the kids against me." Alexander looked at Maria, who stood protectively with the triplets. "Is that true, Maria?" Maria took a deep breath, knowing her word against the trained nannies held little weight. "Mr. Vance, I only questioned Ms. Jessica about giving the kids medicine without a prescription." "What medicine?" Alexander asked, frowning. Jessica tried Toadflex, just natural calmatives for their hyperactivity. "No big deal." Owen stepped forward. "Dad, she said she'd give us medicine to make us quiet forever, like Mommy." Alexander's heart clenched. Sam approached him, something he hadn't done in months. "Dad, Miss Jessica's mean. She locked Owen in a dark room and wouldn't let Blair eat." Blair nodded vigorously. "And she yells at us all the time." Alexander looked at Jessica, who stammered excuses, but as attention shifted after neighborhood burglaries, he'd installed security cameras. If the kids were telling the truth, it would be recorded. "Jessica, come to my office," he said calmly. "Kids, stay with Maria in the office." Alexander reviewed the footage. What he saw sickened him. Hours of recording showed Jessica yelling, locking Owen in a room, denying Blair food, and humiliating Sam. He saw Maria comforting the kids whenever possible, singing to Blair during nightmares, and tending to Owen's scraped knee. "Jessica," Alexander said, barely containing his rage, "you're fired. Leave my house now." "Mr. Vance, I can explain." "No explanation for what I saw." He cut her off. "Leave, or I'll call the police for child mistreatment." Jessica left 20 minutes later, muttering empty threats. Alexander returned to the kitchen and found a scene that moved him deeply. Maria sat at the table with his 3 kids, helping Sam draw while Owen and Blair chatted about school. It was the first time in 4 years he'd seen them relaxed and happy with an adult. The kids ran to hug him, eager to show their drawings. "Dad, look what I drew," Blair said, holding up a family picture. "This is Ms. Maria." The drawing showed 5 figures holding hands. Alexander, Owen, Blair, Sam, and Maria, labeled as her. Alexander's throat tightened, realizing his kids saw Maria as family. "Maria," he said after the kids went to play, Wayne to talk. Maria tensed, fearing she'd be fired for interfering at MR. "Vance, I know it wasn't my place to get involved, but you saved my kids," Alexander interrupted. "I saw everything on the cameras. I saw how that woman treated them and how you protected them." Maria was stunned. "You have cameras?" "Installed after some break-ins nearby. Never thought they'd catch this." Alexander paused. "Maria, I have a proposal that I want you to be the kids' official nanny. I'll pay 10 times your housekeeper's salary, plus benefits." Maria was floored. "Mr. Vance, I don't have a degree in education." "You have something better," Alexander said. "My kids love you, and from the footage, you understand them better than any professional we've had." The triplets appeared at the kitchen door, overhearing. "Ms. Maria, you'll stay with us?" Owen asked hopefully. "Forever?" Blair added. Sam looked at her, eyes shining with hope. Maria glanced at their eager faces, then at Alexander. "I need to talk to my daughter first." "Of course," Alexander said, "but I hope you'll say yes. It's the first time in years I've seen my kids truly happy." That night, Maria returned home, her mind racing. Sophia was doing homework at the kitchen table. "How was work, Mom?" she asked, looking up. "Sophia, I need to talk about something big," Maria said, sitting beside her. She explained Alexander's offer and the salary. Sophia listened quietly, but Maria noticed an odd look on her face. "So, you'll be taking care of some rich guy's kids?" Sophia asked, her tone hard to read. "Sophia, this money could change our lives. You could take college prep courses. I could stop working multiple jobs, and you'll spend more time at their house than with me." Sophia cut in. Maria saw her daughter's insecurity. "Sophia, nothing will change how much I love you. It will, Mom, that you'll get attached to those rich kids and forget about me." The talk grew tense, with Sophia locking herself in her room, refusing dinner. Maria stayed up all night, torn between a life-changing opportunity and fear of hurting her daughter. The next morning, She called Alexander and accepted the offer, but set conditions. Fixed hours to be home at night, weekends off to spend with Sophia, and the chance to bring Sophia to meet the kids. Alexander agreed without hesitation. "Maria, you've given me my kids back. Whatever you need, we'll make it work." Word of Alexander's decision reached his sister, Vivian Vance, a 49-year-old successful therapist in Boston, Massachusetts. Vivian had always disapproved of her younger brother's choices, and this was the final straw. "Alexander, have you lost your mind?" she said over the phone. "Hiring an untrained housekeeper to raise your kids? What would Clara think?" "Don't bring Clara into this," Alexander replied coldly. "It's about Clara. She wanted the best for those kids, quality education, trained professionals, not some random maid. Maria's not some random maid. She's done in weeks what not professional could in years." Vivian wasn't convinced. "Alexander, you were mistaking gratitude for love. This woman stopped a bad nanny, and now you think she's the answer to everything." The call ended badly, with Alexander hanging up, but Vivian wouldn't let it go. Believing Alexander was making a terrible mistake, she hired a private investigator to dig into Maria's past. She also spread rumors among Alexander's wealthy friends. "Did you hear Alexander hired a housekeeper to raise his kids?" she'd say at social dinners. "The poor man never recovered from Clara's death. He's clearly having a breakdown." The gossip spread fast in Manhattan's elite circles. Alexander's colleagues questioned his mental stability. Some key clients raised concerns about doing business with someone making irrational decisions. Meanwhile, Maria began her role as the triplets' nanny. The transition was tougher than expected. Despite her loving conflict, the kids took weeks to adjust to a stable, loving routine. Owen, the rebellious leader, tested Maria early on by smashing a vase in the living room to see if she'd yell. Maria sighed, grabbed a broom, and started sweeping. "You're not going to punish me?" Owen asked, confused. "Why would I?" Maria replied, cleaning up. "Accidents happen." "It wasn't an accident," Owen admitted. "I broke it on purpose." Maria stopped and looked at him. "Why'd I do that?" Owen lowered his head. "Because you'll leave anyway, like everyone else. So you might as well leave now." Maria knelt to his level. "Owen, look at me. I'm not leaving. Ipromise." "They all say that," Owen muttered. "But I'm different," Maria said softly. "Know why? Because I chose to stay. I love you. Blair, eavesdropping behind a chair, stepped out. "You really love us?" "I do, sweetie." Sam crept closer and whispered, "Nobody said they loved us since Mommy left." Maria's shared ached. She opened her arms, and the three ran to hug her. The first group hug they'd given anyone since Clara's death. From that moment, the house's dynamic shifted. Maria set a gentle but consistent routine. Breakfast at 8 with chats about last night's dreams, morning crafts like drawing or clay, lunch at 12:30 with a dish each kid liked, quiet time after lunch, outdoor play when weather allowed, dinner at 6, then bath and bedtime stories. Alexander noticed the changes. He started coming home earlier, drawn by laughter from the living room. One Thursday, he arrived early to grab documents and watched quietly from the back door. Through the cracked living room door, he saw a scene that stopped him cold. Maria sat on the rug, surrounded by the triplets, playing with colorful clay. Each kid was crafting their own figures. Owen focused on a superhero. Blair made a family with a mom, dad, and 3 kids. Sam, the shy one, sculpted animals. "Let's make a story with these," Maria said, arranging their creations. Why superhero protects Blair's family. Owen said, placing his figure near his sister's. Blair smiled. "Sam's animals can be our pets." Sam, rarely speaking unprompted, said clearly, "The elephant's a dad of the animals and takes care of everyone like Dad takes care of us." Tears welled in Alexander's eyes. It was the first time in 4 years Sam had spoken positively about him, and the kids were collaborating, not fighting. "Ms. Maria," Blair said, "tell the story about the princess who took care of 3 little dragons." "Oh, you love that one." Once upon a time, a princess lived in a castle with 3 scared dragons. Alexander listened as Maria spun a tale about a brave princess teaching 3 frightened dragons to be kind and courageous, a clear metaphor for their situation. The kids were captivated. When the story ended, Owen asked, "Ms. Maria, do you think the Dragon King will come back to the castle?" "I think he never left," Maria said wisely. Sometimes kings get busy in their offices and forget to visit the fun parts of the castle. Sam glanced at the doorway where Alexander hid. "Dad, you can come in. We know you're there." Alexander flushed, caught. He stepped inside, and the kids ran to hug him, a rarity. "Dad, look what we made," Blair said, showing her clay family. Ms. Maria is the fairy godmother. Alexander studied their creations, then looked at Maria. "Sorry for eavesdropping." "No need to apologize." Maria smiled. "The kids love when you come home early." "Dad, will you play with us?" Owen asked hopefully. Alexander checked his watch. He had 2 big meetings, but seeing his kids' eager faces, he decided, "Sure, teach me how to make those figures." For the next hour, Alexander played with his kids for the first time in years. Maria stepped back to give them space, but the kids insisted she stay. "Ms. Maria's part off the game," Blair said. "She's our fairy godmother." Alexander watched how naturally Maria included everyone. Knowing when to step in or let them figure things out at IT was a gift no degree could teach. When he finally left for his meetings, he felt guilty leaving that peaceful scene. Looking back, he saw Maria helping the kids pack up the clay. Humming softly to IT was the image of a mother caring for her children, a sight absent from his home for years. That night, Alexander joined the kids for dinner, a first in months. They were thrilled. "Dad, you're eating with us?" Blair shouted, hugging him over dinner. Alexander heard about their day, games, lessons, a bird Sam saw in the garden. "The kids are so much more talkative," he told Maria after they went for baths. "They just needed someone to listen," Maria said. "Kids have a lot to say when they feel safe." Alexander nodded and asked, "Maria, how'd you do it?" Dozens of professionals tried and couldn't even get them to behave. Maria thought for a moment. "I didn't try to change them, Mr. Vance. I just try to understand them. They're not bad kids, they're sad. And sadness heals with love, not punishment." Her words stuck with Alexander. He began watching Maria closely, noting how she handled tough moments. When Owen threw a tantrum, she didn't yell, she knelt and asked what he felt. When Blair cried, she didn't tell her to stop, but asked why she was sad. When Sam withdrew, she stayed nearby, available but not pushy. The results were clear. Tantrums dropped, Blair's nightmares faded, and Sam started speaking up. For the first time since Clara's death, the house was filled with joy. But not everything was perfect. Sophia struggled with the new setup. When Maria came home at night, Sophia was distant. "How was your day, honey?" Maria asked nightly. "Fine," Sophia replied curtly, avoiding talk. It worsened when Sophia's classmates learned her mom worked for a rich family. The taunts began. "Your mom's a nanny for rich kids?" Sneered a jealous peer, Chloe. "Bet she's eyeing the dad," added another, Dana. "Maids always go after rich widowers." Sophia came home furious. When Maria Trieto talked, Sophia exploded. "Everyone at school says you're using a rich guy," she shouted. "They say you want to marry him for money." Maria was stunned. "Sophia, that's not true. I'm just doing my job, caring for 3 kids who need it." "But you love them more than me," Sophia cried. "You spend all day with them playing, caring. When you get home, you're too tired for me." The accusation hit Maria hard. She was exhausted after long days with the triplets, sometimes too drained to give Sophia the attention she deserved. "Sophia, you're my daughter. Nothing will change that." "Then why'd you choose them?" Sophia sobbed. "Why not a normal job away from rich kids?" Maria hugged her, feeling the weight offered dual responsibilities. She had to care for 3 traumatized kids, but couldn't neglect her insecure daughter. Meanwhile, social pressure on Alexander grew. Vivian's rumors had spread out among his colleagues. At a business meeting, a key investor, Mr. Sterling, made a jab. "Alexander, I heard you hired a maid to raise your kids." "True, I hired a highly capable caregiver," Alexander said carefully. "But no formal training, right?" Mr. Sterling pressed. "Ask your partners. We're worried about your decisions. First, you shut down after Clara's death. Now this." The meeting stayed tense, with Alexander realizing his professional reputation was at risk over personal choices. That week, Alexander took Maria and the kids to a charity event at a Brooklyn country club to show confidence in his decision and introduce Maria to his circle. It was a social disaster. From the moment they arrived, Alexander noticed judgmental stares and whispers. Elite mothers sized up Maria's simple clothes and humble background. "Alexander, is this your new employee?" asked Mrs. Davies, a sharp-tongued socialite. "This is Maria, who cares for my kids." Alexander said firmly, "Mrs. Davies smirked. "How interesting. Where did you study childcare, dear?" Maria, uncomfortable, answered honestly, "I don't have a childcare degree, ma'am. I learned raising my daughter." Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Mrs. Davies exchanged asthmatic look with other mothers. "How practical," she said with barely veiled sarcasm. "Alexander, you're always so creative with your choices." Maria felt scrutinized and judged. The kids, sensing the hostility, clung to her. Owen whispered, "Why were they staring meanly at us?" Things worsened when Blair spilled juice on her dress during a snack. Several mothers muttered about poor supervision and ill-mannered kids. Maria felt humiliated, wondering if Vivian was right. Maybe she wasn't fit to raise elite children. The final blow came Monday when Sophia faced taunts at school. Photos from a charity event hit social media, and some parents recognized Maria. "Look, Sophia's mom's dating her rich boss." A boy jeered at recess that Maid's daughter thinks she's hot stuff. Sophia came home crying and furious. "Mom, I can't take it. Everyone's talking about you and that rich guy." "Sophia, there's nothing between me and Mr. Vance," Maria said wearily. "But everyone thinks there is, and I'm the maid's daughter who wants to marry her boss." Sophia sobbed. Maria felt her world crumbling. She loved her job and the triplets, but her daughter was suffering because of it. The crisis peaked when Sam got sick. A simple cough turned into high fever and breathing trouble. Alexander rushed him into New York Children's Hospital, where he was diagnosed with pneumonia. For 3 days, Maria barely left Sam's side, sleeping in a chair, helping nurses, and calming him when he got agitated. Alexander watched her dedication, feeling grateful yet guilty. Grateful for someone who loved his kids so much. Guilty for feeling useless during his son's illness. "Ms. Maria, you won't leave?" Sam asked whenever he woke. "I'm right here, buddy," Maria replied, holding his hand. Owen and Blair visited daily, clinging to Maria, scared of losing another loved one. "Ms. Maria, will Sam be okay?" Blair asked, teary-eyed. "He will, sweetie. The doctors are great, and Sam's strong." During those tough days, Alexander saw Maria's strength. She not only cared for Sam, but kept Owen and Blair calm, managed the household, and still called Sophia nightly. On the 3rd day, when Sam showed improvement, he held Maria's hand and said, "Ms. Maria, you're like mommy. You take care of us when we're sick." Maria's eyes welled up. "Your mommy loved you so much, Sam, and I love you too." Alexander, present, was deeply moved. It was the first time Sam compared anyone to Clara, showing how much Maria meant to him. When Sam was discharged, the family dynamic had shifted. The kids were even more attached to Maria, and Alexander saw how vital she was to their emotional health. But Vivian hadn't given up. A mother's love, even if not biological, always finds a way to heal. If this story of loyalty, sacrifice, and the fight against a stranger's malice resonated with you, tap the subscribe button now. It's the only way to ensure you don't miss our next story about ordinary people making a difference in the lives of those who need it most. Subscribe and join us.